All right, let's talk about something that so many of us feel, but we never really put a name to it. You know that deep, draining exhaustion you get from small talk? Well, today we're going to unpack the psychology behind why that feeling isn't some kind of social flaw. In fact, it might just be a sign that you have a very, very active and intelligent mind.
I mean, have you ever been there? You're at a party or some kind of social gathering, there's chatter all around you, and after just a few minutes of talking about the weather or what you did last weekend, you just feel depleted. Like you need to find a quiet corner and just recharge. If that sounds familiar, then this is definitely for you.
You see, society is pretty quick to slap labels on people who duck out of small talk, right? You get called antisocial, maybe arrogant, or just shy. But what if all of that is just a big misunderstanding? What if the reality is something else entirely? What if that discomfort is actually a sign that your brain is just wired for something deeper?
Okay, so let's dive into the first big reason. It all starts with something you might not even be aware of, the hidden speed of your brain. That feeling of exhaustion, it's not in your head. Well, I mean, it is in your head, but it's a very real cognitive thing.
It all comes down to this idea called efficiency mismatch. Think about it like this. Your brain is a high-speed, powerful computer. And when you're forced into a slow, predictable, superficial conversation, it's like using that supercomputer to do a really simple, boring, repetitive task. It's not just that it's uninteresting, it's incredibly inefficient, and it actually drains your mental batteries.
It creates this feeling of mental hunger. Your mind is craving complexity. It's looking for new patterns. It wants a real connection. But small talk, it's like being offered a glass of water when you're starving for a steak. It just doesn't satisfy that deep cognitive craving.
And I really want to nail this point home. This has nothing to do with arrogance. It's not you thinking you're better than the conversation. It's more of a physiological response. Your brain is just humming at a different frequency, and trying to force it to slow down to match the pace of shallow chit-chat is genuinely physically tiring.
So, moving on to our second point. This builds directly on that idea of speed, because it's not just about how fast your brain works, it's about what it's hungry for: substance. You're not just trying to avoid shallow topics, you're actively on the hunt for something meaningful. In psychology, there's this fascinating trait known as low social reward sensitivity. Now, for a lot of people, just fitting in, getting that nod or smile, that gives them a little hit of dopamine. It's a social reward. But if you have this trait, your brain's reward system is, well, it's harder to impress. It doesn't get that same buzz from just surface-level stuff. It needs more.
And why is that? It's because you're a natural pattern hunter. You're not just satisfied with knowing what happened. Your mind is wired to figure out the why behind it all. So things like gossip or talking about the weather, it just feels like empty noise. It's data without meaning. That's why you'd always choose one deep, meaningful conversation over 100 shallow ones. Okay, reason number 3. This one, it cuts a little deeper. It's all about your relationship with authenticity. A huge reason you struggle with small talk is that, frankly, you can see right through the performance.
You see, if this resonates with you, you probably have what you could call an advanced social perception. It's like having a built-in detector for anything that isn't genuine. You're the one who spots the forced laugh, you can sense the hidden agenda behind a compliment, and you see the social script that everyone else is just following. And once you see it, you just can't unsee it.
Because your perception is so sharp, your brain has an almost involuntary reaction. It's not a conscious choice to be picky or judgmental. It's a fundamental, deep-down rejection of things that just don't feel real. Trying to play along feels like you're lying, and that creates this incredible internal conflict.
All right, let's pull all of this together with our final point. It's about how you actually think, the layers, the pauses, and even the value you find in silence. Let's take the simplest, most common, most basic small talk question there is. How are you? For most people, the answer is just automatic. Fine, you? But for a deep thinker, that simple question kicks off a whole cascade of internal processes.
So what's really happening in that little pause before you answer? Well, first, there's metacognition. You're actually scanning yourself to figure out how you really feel. Then, layered thinking kicks in as you consider all the complex reasons why you feel that way. And finally, you have to do this rapid mental editing job, boiling all of that complexity down into a simple, socially acceptable phrase. That hesitation, it's not shyness, it's an intense cognitive workout happening in real time.
And you know what? This is also why you probably value silence. A lot of people feel like they have to rush to fill every quiet moment with chatter, because it feels awkward. But for you, silence is productive. It's a sanctuary. It's the space you need to organize all that internal chaos, connect the dots, and generate brand new ideas. Silence isn't empty to you, it's full of potential.
Which brings us to the most important takeaway from all of this. If any of what we've talked about has resonated with you, I really want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not broken. And you are not too much or too intense.
It's simple, really. Your mind is just wired for depth, living in a world that, a lot of the time, prefers to skim the surface. And that is not a flaw.
So please, remember this. Standing alone sometimes because you value truth over just fitting in, that doesn't make you a failure. It's a sign of integrity. It's what makes you rare.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. As we walked through all of this, the mental speed, the craving for substance, the intolerance for fakeness, and that layered way of thinking, how many of those did you see in yourself? Because recognizing how you're wired is the very first step to truly owning it. Thanks for tuning in.